My name is Brian Payne. I'm Vice Provost at Old Dominion University, and I'm also a professor in the Sociology and Criminal Justice Department. It seems a day doesn't go by when you don't hear about a cybersecurity incident, whether it's related to something going on in the political arena, a business being breached, a child being bullied on the internet, someone being ripped off through an auction fraud. Whatever it is, these incidents are hitting the media at a pace that we've never seen before. What we're going to do in this class is introduce you to the notion of cybersecurity and its relationship to technology and society. At Old Dominion University, we're especially proud of the way that we address this topic. You see, we look at this topic through what's called an interdisciplinary lens. We have faculty in engineering who are interested in studying and teaching about cybersecurity from a perspective that looks at the physical systems and the critical infrastructure and how we can make you and I safer through approaching cybersecurity through that sort of lens. We also have faculty in the College of Business who examine how businesses respond to cybersecurity, but also how, as an information issue, how we secure information in a way that balances the needs of the business with the rights of the consumers. We also have faculty in that same college who are examining how to determine the insurance practices as they relate to cybersecurity for businesses and for individuals. In our College of Arts and Letters, we have faculty who look at cybersecurity through a criminological lens, studying this topic and teaching about this topic and how police officers are interested in cybersecurity and cybercrime, pointing out that virtually every crime has a digital component to it. We also have faculty in that same college in our Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies who look at the ethical implications of cybersecurity and cyber incidents and the growth of cyber technology. We have faculty in political science who look at laws and look at international trends and look at policies and their relationship to the political changes and how cybersecurity is growing as a political topic. In the College of Sciences, we have computer scientists, as you would expect, who are very interested in studying this topic and talking about how we can better protect our computer systems, our software, and our hardware. We also have faculty in psychology who are very interested in looking at how human components and human factors contribute to cybersecurity incidents. Now, I say all of this to drive home the point that cybersecurity is not a computer problem. It's not a human problem. It's not a business problem. It's a societal problem. And therein is the reason this group of professors that I've alluded to created this class called Cybersecurity, Technology, and Society. The course description for the class drives home the point that we're looking at these interactions between cybersecurity, technology, and society through an interdisciplinary orientation. What we look at specifically is the way that technologically driven cybersecurity issues are connected to cultural, political, legal, ethical, and business domains. I'd make a couple points about this course description to show how proud we are of this class. First, it is a general education class that meets the T requirements here at Old Dominion University, which refers to our technology requirements. We are one of the first universities in the country to actually integrate a cybersecurity class into our general education coursework. This is particularly relevant because it shows how valuable we think this topic is to all of us. It's a topic that influences us today. It will influence us tomorrow. It will influence us in our future. The way that technology has shaped the way that we experience safety shifts every day, and it will continue to shift in the future. And in order to fully understand those shifts and the technologically driven topics that come up with these changes, we need to pay attention to those cultural forces, the political influences, the legal implications, the ethical underpinnings, and the business domains related to cybersecurity. And in doing this, you will be provided a wide range of perspectives from which you can fully understand cybersecurity. Related to our technology course, we have certain objectives that the university says you have to meet these objectives in order for us to count your class in general education. So we developed this course around these objectives that the university has set forth, and we've integrated cybersecurity narratives and cybersecurity language into those objectives so that we can demonstrate how this topic moves beyond the pure, what we would think of as a specific topic of cybersecurity, to a more general topic that helps us to live as human beings, that helps us interact with one another, that helps us understand the world in which we live as well as the world around us. Now, these objectives include that after you take this course, you will be able to describe how cyber technology creates opportunities for criminal behavior. One of the things you'll learn that I think is especially interesting is how traditional crimes have actually gone down in the past 2 decades. Yes, when people talk about how bad crime is today, they forget to point out that crime is actually down. Now, I said traditional crime because things like robberies and larcenies and those sorts of things have gone down, but electronic crimes, which nobody really keeps track of, those are believed to increase. So what may be happening is the advent of our technological revolution in terms of the internet and cyber technology has created new opportunities for crime that we just plain don't capture in our official crime statistics, and you'll be learning a lot about that. We'll also talk about how cultural beliefs interact with technology to impact cybersecurity strategies. Indeed, in some cultures, the amount of intrusion that's provided by the government is seen as, in terms of providing our safety, is seen as particularly appropriate. Whereas other countries that focus more on individual rights may suggest that we don't want our government watching our every move on the internet and those sorts of things. You'll also be able to understand and describe the components, mechanisms, and functions of cyber systems and how they produce security concerns. Here, what you'll be able to do is have a general foundation about how engineers might explain how we protect our computer systems. Now, you won't necessarily be able to develop those physical systems. If you become a cybersecurity major, you will be well on your way to doing that. But our point here is to give you the very basic foundation that's needed to dive deeper into that topic. You'll also be able to discuss the impact that cyber technology has on individuals' experiences with crime and victimization. So when someone experiences cyber crime as an individual, we typically think about cybersecurity at a broader level. I think when I look around and I read what people are writing about, they're talking about the way that cybersecurity influenced the 2016 election. They're talking about cybersecurity and the critical infrastructure. They're talking about opportunities for countries and nations to harm one another with cyber technology. But it's not just countries and nations that harm one another, it's individuals. We'll talk, for instance, about cyberbullying, and we'll understand those horrific experiences. We'll also talk about the ethical dilemmas, both intended and unintended, that cybersecurity efforts produce for individuals, nations, societies, and the environment. On the one hand, it may be wonderful to have all this information available to us through cyber technology. On the other hand, we have to ask, why do we need all that information? And is having all of that information available in one space, here what we call cyberspace, actually good for us as a society, or does it place us at risk? You'll also be able to describe the costs and benefits of producing secure cyber technologies. Indeed, a business could develop the safest system possible so that our data is 100% safe. And they could 100% guarantee us that there will never be an incident in their business. If they do that, they'll probably never have any customers, because the type of security they'd have to build would essentially be a wall around their entire cyberspace that nobody could get in and out of. So what businesses have to decide is how much are they going to invest into a cybersecurity technology, and how much are they going to risk in doing that. In the same way, we could think about our own security systems and what we're developing and what costs and benefits and how we measure those costs and benefits. We'll also understand and describe the global nature of cybersecurity and the way that cybersecurity efforts have produced and inhibited global changes. This is a new type of security issue. It's a type that someone in another country overseas could actually harm people without actually leaving that country. Those implications by themselves are astounding. But when you move that up to a macro level and look at how governments interact with one another and how governments can use technology to control one another or to understand one another or to influence one another, that's a completely different perspective than we've ever had. And you'll also be able to describe how cybersecurity produces ideas of progress and modernism. Now, this is a phrase that you're not going to see in very many cybersecurity courses. And the reason it's here is we go back to the fact that this is a general education technology class, and this is something that we at ODU believe that we have to be thinking about when we think about technology, is how does technology influence ideas of progress and modernism? How does cybersecurity technology influence the way that we're thinking about how our society moves forward and how our society embraces modern ideals? And what are all of the ramifications that come up when we think about those ideas of progress and modernism? There's three components in this class: cybersecurity, technology, and society. I'll spend a little bit of time talking about cybersecurity, but the notions of technology and society are integrated throughout without necessarily specifically saying this module we're going to talk about technology and this module we're going to talk about society, because the whole notion of cybersecurity, the whole notion of cyberspace is that cyberspace encompasses all of society. Cyberspace is wherever there is cyber technology. And so you truly cannot separate cybersecurity from technology or from society. As I mentioned, at Old Dominion University, we're taking a strong approach to understanding cybersecurity. And we created in March of 2015 the Old Dominion University Center for Cybersecurity Education and Research. This center brings together professors from across the university, from all of those programs that I mentioned before. And in fact, we've got roughly 36 faculty from philosophy and political science and sociology and risk management and engineering management and modeling and simulation and computer science and psychology and a number of other disciplines that come together and work together to both teach about and study cybersecurity. When you have a moment, I would certainly encourage you to visit our website to see the wealth of materials and the wealth of activities that our faculty are engaged in. And it's not just our faculty that are engaged in these activities, it's our students as well. In fact, we've got a number of projects going on that are working with our students, whether it's in internships or service learning or what we call entrepreneurships, or these efforts to bring students together and share understanding and share information about cybersecurity. We've received funding from the National Science Foundation to engage in those kind of activities. I should also point out that the development of this class is also supported by the National Science Foundation through our Center for Cybersecurity Education and Research. This center, it's unlike others that are out there in that it truly is interdisciplinary. But it's also a novel approach because many centers are research centers. Some others are education centers. We believe that you cannot separate education from research, especially when we're talking about a topic like cybersecurity that changes so often. And so as educators and researchers, we bring together our researchers and we bring together our educators so that we can form an approach to understanding this topic. In fact, what you'll get in this class is a combination of those educators and their research projects and how they perceive cybersecurity in their disciplines, as well as the interactions between their discipline and other disciplines. What is cybersecurity? In subsequent mini modules, I'm going to unpack that question, and I'm going to talk more specifically about how cybersecurity can be seen as each of these different topics. And in doing so, that provides the foundation that helps to drive home the point that this really is an interdisciplinary issue. This is an issue that touches all of us in many different ways. But while I'll dive into each of these topics, what I want to talk about now is when we ask what is cybersecurity, I could say it is an ODU course. It's an Old Dominion University major. It's an Old Dominion University academic program. But when I say it like that, what I'm talking about is the fact that this is a course that's developed through an interdisciplinary effort involving faculty from information technology who have a wide range of experience and understanding and teaching about and studying information and technology and how technology drives our use of information. We have faculty from business, from engineering, computer science, criminal justice, and philosophy who've come together to develop components of this class, unlike any class that exists anywhere that we're aware of, so that our students are provided this wide foundation from which they can begin to think about cybersecurity in their future. This class isn't meant to make anyone an expert in cybersecurity. It's not meant to get anyone certified as a cybersecurity specialist or a cybersecurity expert. What it's meant to do is to help you start to ask the questions that need to be asked. In fact, at the end of this class, if you have more questions than answers about cybersecurity, then we will feel that we've done our job. I hope you enjoy the class.